This is the type of person who would live in a castle this large because any other size humanoid wouldn't fit. My name is Kitt Bua. I'm a real estate agent with the Corcoran Group here in New York City. I sell residential real estate from co-ops to condos in Brooklyn, Manhattan, even up to Long Island and Westchester. Today, going to be able to evaluate homes in video game settings. The criteria we're using is one, location, location, location. The most important aspect of real estate. That's why New York City and other big cities are so expensive. Second, we're going to be looking at price per square footage. How big is this home and how much it is per square foot? We're going to be looking at what type of condition of this home. Is it new? Is it beat up? What's gone on in this home? In real estate, traditionally, stories sell, and what better stories than written by video game programmers? And that's what's gonna help us sell real estate. First, Grand Theft Auto 5, Trevor Phillips's trailer home. Typically, trailer homes can be anywhere from $5,000 to $6,000 or $10,000 more if it's a luxury. Trevor's trailer home is not a luxury. It is beat up, it is worn down, it has been neglected for years. Probably about 800, 900 square feet. It's already in fictional LA, there's no reason to move it. $500, maybe $1,000. But if these substances and the house is sold as is, it could be very valuable if Trevor chooses to leave it there. I'd probably put it up in Craigslist and get rid of it right away. And next, Link's house in Kakariko Village, Ocarina of Time. This thing is not designed very well. I look at the architecture and it's lacking. It's just a massive tree that was carved out and the wood to finish out the rest of the home. This tree is really large. Adult Link is about 5'9", but young Link's gonna be a lot shorter than that. Probably about 400 or so square feet. Not much labor involved with this thing. Probably only $1,000 or 1,000 rupees in game. It would be incredibly difficult to sell this home, mostly because no one knows how to get to it, and you have to be a certain age group to even find it. Another treehouse. We have Donkey Kong's treehouse. Now, again, not too many jungles in New York. Donkey Kong is probably 500 or so pounds, and that he moves around very violently. So a structure that supports that kind of weight. It's made of basically tree and bamboo and other raw materials. What's gonna be expensive here is the labor. The hut itself is probably only a few hundred square feet. Donkey Kong's usually going through the jungle, grabbing bananas, and that's the wealth he acquires. Probably about $10,000 worth of labor, or in this case, 10,000 bananas. Heading back to the West Coast in Vinewood Hills, we got Franklin Clinton's home. Very easy to evaluate this home. Don't have to be fancy. It's moderately maintained, suburban LA. It's about 1,400 square feet, $450,000. Now keep in mind, this is where Franklin started. This is his roots before he was gifted that incredible mansion later on in the series. Michael's mansion, despite popular belief, is not a mansion. Although this location is incredible in fictional Rockford Hills, it's still not a mansion. A tennis court, it's got a pool, it's got a wraparound driveway with terracotta style roofing. This is a very quintessential home for the Western Coast. I would approximate this home about 4,500 square feet. Although beautiful, it certainly is, probably around the $3.5 million price point, maybe a little bit less, depending on the property taxes. If the taxes on a home like this tend to exceed the norm, then it's actually going to directly decrease the value of a home. Next, we have a contemporary classic for Sims 3 at 13 Skyborough Boulevard. Roughly 3,500, maybe 4,500 square feet, beautiful kept grounds, probably in northern New York, high taxes, but when you have a property like this, it's worth it. Lots of shrubbery, standing still water is a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Do you have pets? We're talking about tens, 20, maybe $30,000, $40,000 a year just in maintaining the property grounds. 4 floors, 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, which kind of doesn't really add up for a house this large. With the grounds this big comes a really big lot, probably at least an acre. I would easily estimate this at least $3 million. You just type in the Rosebud sheet and you can afford everything in one day anyways. We have Spencer Mansion in Resident Evil. This home is an exquisite colonial. The woodwork, the stonework, probably 20,000 square feet. People would be clamoring to buy this home if it wasn't possessed. Very likely this was placed in the South somewhere with a colonial design, maybe $15 or $20 million, given the type of property it was on. Next, Luigi's mansion. This home is huge. Anywhere from probably 35 to 40,000 square feet. The central doorway is very typical for a colonial. Beautiful raised roofs, hundreds of thousands of dollars per year in taxes. 40,000 square feet, maybe be worth 40 or 50 million dollars. Probably strong to say that as a price point. It's a saying in real estate. It is as expensive as someone is willing to pay for it. Are they really worth that much? Some will say no, until you have a buyer willing to pay for it. But it's got a lot of problems. With the ghosts, those are the neighbors, we're gonna drop the value of that. Maybe $10 million if someone was willing to take it off your hands, all cash, no contingency. I actually have to place it at $0. Luigi's mansion was an illusion created by King Boo this entire time, and even in the fictional universe, I cannot give a real estate value for something that doesn't exist. We're going really far away to Azeroth, World of Warcraft, Stormwind Keep. No wonder the Horde hates the allies. We never got this type of architectural love. The stonework throughout, and it is so expensive to move that type of granite. For context, in New York City, a typical brownstone, easy to transport, and it was local, but it was very porous. These rocks face the elements, they definitely wear down in time, which ruins the integrity of the building. Homes have to be repointed every 10 to 20 years. It is upwards of $100,000 for purely the facade of the building. If it's $100,000 for a home that's only 2,000 square feet, can you imagine one that's 20 or 30,000 square feet? Probably 12, 13, or 14,000 square feet. It's not that big, but it's attached to the city, probably valuated at the 70, 80, or $90 million mark. If you're interested, get those Black Lotus and get to gold farming. Next, we have Bowser's Castle, Super Mario Brothers. It's a fortress. This thing is ginormous, anywhere from 40 to 50 or 60,000 square feet. Sandstone, granite, whatever it might be, is incredibly durable, which is great for a fortress, but not great of moving that much stone to a place that's very rural and secluded, probably 70, 80, or maybe $100 million or more. Kinda didn't do a good job of keeping Mario out, but aesthetically, absolutely beautiful. And we do have one more Resident Evil house to touch on, Castle Dimitrescu. Not unsimilar to Dracula's castle in Castlevania, all placed in Romania. The Gothic style from the 1300s, from the 1400s. Lady Dimitrescu, standing at a whopping 9'6". This home would probably be valued at about $100 million if it was void of a giant lady. Again, it's whatever someone's willing to pay for it. It is a marvel, hard to exist in the modern world. They're still there, but not as prevalent as, let's say, would be 600 years ago. Last, but certainly not least, Hyrule Castle in Breath of the Wild. Speaking of breath, this castle is breathtaking. I don't even want to call it a home. I don't even want to call it a building. It's really a city within itself. Incredibly well designed for a maze. Is it 150,000 square feet? It looks like it could be limestone, a little bit different color. The medieval turrets, the steeples, the details, the marble inside of the home. Who could even purchase a home like this? It would take them a decade to even explore their own home. 250 billion rupees, let's call it. There's no other way to possibly evaluate this home. I can't possibly put an American dollar on this type of home. Being a real estate agent and a die-hard gamer, the next time I go into Azeroth, I might be taking a more of a pragmatic look of how someone would take to live in a home like this. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please click below and subscribe and comment any other homes in the video game world you'd like to see me evaluate next.